Okay, we're live. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 170, which Tom is going to explain to us later in the show how to, I guess it's HODL, cryptocurrencies.
Yes, how to hodl all of your cryptocurrency.
But before that, I just want to say, I guess this is good news. There is no news. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. So you didn't hear us last week because we would have not talked about really that much. And even this week, there's not that much. And look, let's knock on wood and say, this is awesome because there's no crazy bug that everyone has to fix or nothing is going to happen. The internet has not broken anything in the last week. We're still trying to catch up on Meltdown Inspector, but again, there's nothing that we can describe to you on what to do other than install your updates. I guess that's it.
Yeah, that's really about it. Run your updates, use two-factor authentication, use a password manager. Yeah. Don't click on any .docx files in email unless you're expecting them. Stuff like that. Don't enable macros.
So I was thinking about this while trying to come up with topics because, again, we got nothing. I was thinking we should go back at some point to all those first topics that we talked about and bring them back up. But I don't want to do it if there's no real need for it. So, again, if comment, let us know if there's a topic you want us to bring back up or to explain again for you or whatever it is. Just let us know because, again, I feel like we spoke with passwords and two-factor ad nauseum, but you never know. People don't like scrolling up. So if you want to hear it again, let us know.
Yeah, we can always dive back into stuff or take a look at old topics with new fervor. Like in 4 or 5 years, when we realized that Meltdown Inspector have actually led to this massive self-replicating technology revolution where the robots are killing all of humanity, we can look back on that episode and make an update saying, yeah, it was probably worse than we thought because we accidentally created a fleet of Terminators. But for now, we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
So the first part, I went to ShmooCon about 2 weeks ago. My first time at ShmooCon. I was not feeling 100%, so I can't really tell you whether I liked it or not. I did want it to end as fast as possible. But again, that wasn't because it was bad or anything else. There were some awesome talks. There was an awesome party. There's all the awesome stuff that goes around, LobbyCon, all that stuff. But I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. I think it was because if there's nothing to talk to or no one to talk to, there's not the DEF CON experience of literally anything else that you can go to. And I think DerbyCon's the same way. There's not hundreds of other things to do. You're kind of stuck in this little hotel.
Yeah, DerbyCon's got a lot of little ancillary parties and groups that break off, but it is pretty much contained or was contained to the Hyatt before they moved.
So like DEF CON is like you can go on scavenger hunts, you can do a million other things, but ShmooCon did have good talks. They had 3 tracks of talks that you can hear, and the 2 interesting ones are, and in the WhatsApp group we talk about this, these new hardware router firewall type things, these QoS servers. So basically you hook this up and it allows some sort of parental control on it. Yeah, those don't do anything. In fact, they actually hurt you. So one of the things they were looking at is that Disney Circle. So I've seen a ton of ads for these. It's you plug this into your router and it will intercept your kids' traffic and your traffic and make it all squeaky clean. The problem is it opens up a remote full web server that has all the bells and whistles that you can do all these bad things on. And to Disney's credit, they did fix it. But what we found out is Disney just put their name on it. They didn't actually do anything with this other than slap their name and say, hey, kids, it's Disney. It's good.
Yeah, that's the thing about all these, parental control devices, proxies. If you're putting something in your network in the line, to clean or inspect or block traffic, you have to make sure, just like with any antivirus product, if the thing that's protecting you, if the thing that is accepting all the bad, nefarious traffic isn't itself secure, it becomes a massive vector. Because it's going to be a central point in your network or a central point on your system. And if you can attack that, if you can get into that, you not only have control of that system or that piece of software, you now have access to everything that trusts it and connects to it. So it's very important when you're looking at these products to choose a secure one. With antivirus, it's pretty easy. We mentioned if you're running Windows 7, upgrade to Windows 10. If you're running Windows 10, just use the built-in Microsoft stuff. Use Windows Defender. You don't need anything else, and adding something else probably decreases your security posture.
Look, I mean, I was going to say, I have a 4-year-old, and I know he's going to get more onto the tablet and everything else. But before he goes to bed, I do check what he goes on. And I'm not saying I'm combing through his history or violating his privacy. I ask him, show me what you're looking at. And he started watching SpongeBob one day. So I had to stop that immediately. Like no, SpongeBob, sorry, that's not it. But again, it's I guess better parenting, if that's what you want to call it, parenting, or just being vigilant or whatever else. That's probably the best way for now. The other way is OpenDNS has filters that you can put on, and you can whitelist or blacklist different sites and accomplish almost the same thing without paying money or a service fee or another box in your house.
OpenDNS is fantastic. I've implemented that in situations where, a kid wants to go on the internet. The parents, don't want to police them 24/7 or stand over their shoulder. And it does a relatively decent job of, cleaning up things or keeping kids from certain types of content on the internet. Now, it's not perfect by any means. And if you've got, especially an enterprising teenager or, a semi-technical preteen who knows how to change DNS servers or use a proxy, you can absolutely get around that. So it's not a fire and forget solution. It's not going to do your job as a parent, but it is something to keep in mind. OpenDNS, it's free. Hook it up, add your home network, and it works really, really well. I do recommend it.
So some of these Disney features are time limits, filtering, bedtime, usage, rewards, basically. And the mesh networks are starting to build this into their software. So like Google Wi-Fi, and I'm sure Eero and Plume and all of them have these abilities to do the same thing. But again, it goes back to who are you going to trust? And unfortunately, Disney, by slapping their name on it, put this thing, they're saying, hey, look, we're Disney, we're good. And unfortunately, it wasn't. The good news is they were very responsive. They did work to fix it, but it was kind of like head scratching, boneheaded issues. Like why didn't you figure this out?
There is a slightly non-technical answer. If your router doesn't come with this ability to set aside groups of devices, like, hey, these are the kids' devices, their tablet, their Roku, whatever, their Xbox. And it doesn't allow you to say, hey, after 9 p.m., disable internet access. What you can do is you can actually hang a second wireless router off of your main one and make sure that your main one is just used for the adults in the home. But the second one, that's a separate network for the kids with a totally different password. And when it's bedtime, you can even get, like, my grandmother used to have these outlets that she would set timers on. And when it hit a certain time of day, they would automatically turn off the power. She used it for her lights. You could do something like that to just shut off the kid's router when it's time to go to bed.
I mean, you just like literally unplug it at 8 o'clock. And you can probably buy one of those insecure Wi-Fi outlets that do the same thing.
You absolutely could.
But you'll be disconnecting your Wi-Fi, so you won't be able to turn it back on. But anyway, it's again, it's one of those. The other talk we saw was from Matt Blaze, and Matt Blaze is famously the guy who hacked the Clapper chip in 1994, started the crypto wars and all this other nonsense. But anyway, he's part of now the voter hacking village at DEF CON, and they went through all the problems. And let me tell you, when we say all the problems, anything you can think of has been a problem. And I'll leave you with, if you go to the website electionsource.com, that's where municipalities buy their election products. They'll just ship it to you. Like there's no like you need a purchase order from the government or whatever else. Nope, you could just put your American Express card in, it'll ship to your house, and you can certify some pieces of paper to be from the election board of Michigan. No problem.
I know we've covered this in the past, but some of the problems with these voter machines include default credentials, such as admin and admin to get into a system, or administrator with no password, or leaving a ton of voter data just on the hard drive for anyone to get. Other issues include, spawning a Wi-Fi network, an insecure Wi-Fi network that you can then get remote access to the system on and change votes. There are so many issues with these machines. They are all completely closed source. You buy them, from a provider, and you never get support on it. You never run updates, and they sit in a closet for 4 years or 2 years until you pull them out again. We should be demanding, us American citizens, and really citizens all over the world should be demanding that if you are using any type of electronic system for voting, it needs to be completely open source and vetted by true security professionals.
Look, it's basically the way they're keeping it secure is like you said, they're closed sourcing it and suing people who try to break it. And unfortunately, the suing works because right now Matt Blaze is saying they can't find voter machines for DEF CON this year because Sequoia and Diebold and everyone else are suing the eBay resellers. So they're not keeping it secure; they're just suing you from selling it, which is not doing anything because they're still in circulation. They're still being used.
Yeah. If by chance we have somebody from a municipality, American or otherwise, that would like to donate a machine to DEF CON, I would suggest a donation and not just lending it out to DEF CON for pretty obvious reasons. But if you would like to donate your machine, we will find someone to put you in touch with, and it would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And know that you are doing this in the name of good science and good research.
And we're talking specifically about e-voting machines, where there's no paper ballot. I mean, yes, the ones that put a paper ballot are also susceptible, but a lot of the times now they're going to completely e-voting. There's no paper and no nothing, and they're saying, "Oh, the touch screens we can do. Like the voter can actively change your touch screen inside the booth, which is clearly a problem." So you could say this push, this coordinate will, even though it looks like the Democrat is going for the Republican or vice versa and everything else. So one of the things they were saying is make sure it's paper ballot. The problem is nobody goes to these meetings. There's no, I mean, there is an election committee meeting, but that's probably on your county level, and you have to know when it is, and they're going to want to know why you're checking it out and everything else. But it's good to be active because clearly the machines and the security there are not going to stop it. I think the country as a whole needs to come up and say, we need to start looking at this.
Yeah, this is, and what's great, and I guess awful, but mostly great about this is it's not a partisan issue, right? This doesn't affect Democrats, Republicans, Green Party, anyone in particular. It affects everyone in particular, which means it's something that we can all get behind, no matter what your party affiliation is, right? Our votes should be counted as they were cast. And insecure voting machines makes that a really hard thing to come to.
Well, again, it goes back to whoever won clearly wants to stay winning and not claim anything. But again, the people in office need to say, hey, we need to do this. The problem is you're going against the DMCA, you're going against their intellectual property and all this other stuff. And I'm sure they're lobbying. So once again, money talks.
Yeah.
So I mean, those are the two big things we got at ShmooCon. Rob Joyce, who's some, you can go look him up. He's a very, very important person in the NSA. He showed us how to do a really awesome light show, like with a Raspberry Pi. You can do a Christmas light show that plays whatever it is. So,
nice.
I'm looking what he is. Who once ran the NSA's Office of Tailored Access Operations. So the guy who was in charge of the secret area of the NSA was showing me how to get Snoopy to play on his 14-foot Christmas tree made out of LEDs.
That's fantastic.
So I don't know if he went into ShmooCon and said, I have an awesome talk on hacking. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to hack my Christmas tree. But
that's rad.
So we're about halfway. I'll leave it to you. So we've talked about Bitcoin enough. We've talked about cryptocurrencies and we've talked about all this and Coinbase and everything else and really how to stay secure. We'll talk about it a little bit more. But what happens if you want to actually hold your cryptocurrency? You really believe that Ripple is the next big thing and you want to, or Dogecoin, and you want to hold it for the long haul. How do you get it out of Coinbase? How do you write it down? Where do you store it? What app should you use? And I think Tom is the most qualified to answer this. So I'm going to let him start.
So there are a lot of solutions. There are plenty of free solutions. There are plenty of paid solutions to get your coins out. Make sure you control and own the wallet, or print out a wallet. Right, print out a private key. Send your coins to this paper wallet and put it in a safety deposit box or in a mattress somewhere. You could print out a lot of paper wallets and put a little bit of your cryptocurrency in each one, so you could stuff a mattress full of these paper wallets if you wanted to. But the first thing you have to know about cryptocurrency, at least in this day and age, is you go check the price. You try not to cry, and then you cry a lot. And that's really the key to holding at the present day. Because I looked at the numbers this morning, and then this evening I tried not to cry, and then I cried just a lot. It's really the first step in all of this. So let's talk about the expensive stuff first. You can buy a hardware wallet. And there are a ton of these around. You could buy a hardware wallet, you plug it in, you can transfer your coins off to that. And by transfer, I mean, it'll give you a public key. You go to Coinbase or whatever exchange you're using, and you say, I want to send all of my coin to this public key. Make sure you've got the right one. Once you hit send, once you confirm that transaction, you can't take it back. No one can give you your money back. So make sure, no matter what the system is, that you've got the right private key. So you could get that. And some people love hardware wallets. Some people hate them. I've never used one. I don't see the real requirement behind them. Some of them have some pretty nice features, such as like a panic code where you can substitute like one of the secret words you memorize to send off your coins to another wallet that you've set up beforehand. So that's kind of cool. What I have done in the past is you can pull down the official Bitcoin Core client. I would recommend against that. Or you can pull down this client called Electrum. Now, it will take a little bit to get started up, but it will give you a lot of public keys. And you can just copy one of those out and send all your coins to Electrum, and then encrypt that wallet file. Either use GPG, use a Veracrypt volume. Just take the wallet file, throw it in there, and then use on Windows, you can use Eraser. On OS X or Linux, you can use the command line utility shred to shred that wallet file after you've encrypted it and backed it up, right? Don't shred it beforehand. That would be bad. You just shredded a bunch of money. But you take your wallet file, encrypt it, back it up, make sure you've got a lot of copies spread out, all over places you can control, like a flash drive that you keep in safety deposit box, burn it to a CD, I guess, if you wanted to, and put it in a, stack of Smash Mouth CDs where no one's ever going to look. And you can just keep that wallet file, keep it offline, and make sure it's not attached to the internet or on a device that is attached to the internet, just to keep it safe, to keep it from prying eyes. And you're really relying on the encryption inherent in GPG or Veracrypt to keep you safe there. You could also use a paper wallet, and that's where you pull down some code. It opens up like a web page, And then you can actually print this thing that's got two QR codes. One of them is a public key, the other is a private key. You send your funds to the public key. Once it's there, the only private key, the only way to get it out is to scan this private key into another Bitcoin wallet. With that, you can laminate it, put it in a safety deposit box. They've got these cool like tamper-proof stickers you can add on to it. It's really more of a novelty than anything else. But if you want kind of a non-digital physical representation of your Bitcoin wallet, a paper wallet's not a bad way to go. What you do have to keep in mind is that Coinbase and the other exchanges, they're not banks. If they get hacked, if your money goes away, there's no law on the books that says they have to give you your money back. So just keep that in mind. They're called exchanges for a reason. They're not backed. They're not insured. There's no one that says they have to give you your money back if they're robbed or they go out of business. So the only way you truly own cryptocurrency is if you hold the private key.
So I want to slow that down a little bit. Hold on one second. So I'm using Coinbase. So I get my money in there. And first off is that the money held in Coinbase, like you said, it's not a bank. It's just Coinbase is holding it for you. So if something happens to Coinbase, you lose something, everything is stuck. That's correct. So all the money you have in Coinbase, whatever it is. So the goal is you want to move that all out. So what you have to do is you have to find in Coinbase or whatever your exchange of sort is how to move that out to whichever wallet it is. And presumably they have it there. They give you they give you some sort of QR code, right? That you can scan. And you can scan that into, or I'm losing the name, some sort of address.
It works backwards. So they've got like a little, send money button.
Okay.
And you would paste in your public key, or if you've got it on the phone, you can scan a QR code with the public address on it and send the money that way.
Okay. So, and that would go into your hardware wallet your wallet that you just described. And I did search up. I just Google searched Bitcoin wallet, and Electrum is the last one after you said don't use Bitcoin Core or any of the others, but Electrum is there.
Bitcoin Core is decent software. It is the official Bitcoin implementation. The reason I recommend against it is because you will pull down an entire copy of the blockchain. Now, I haven't used this in some time, so unless they switch to SegWit or they give you the option, you're going to be pulling down hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gigs, waiting for this thing to synchronize quite literally every single transaction that has ever occurred in the Bitcoin universe since the dawn of Bitcoin. And that's a lot of data. You're going to be pulling down the entire blockchain, the entire public distributed ledger. Electrum doesn't use that. They connect out to servers that have copies of the blockchain, and it's generally a very well-trusted and well-respected wallet. It's what I use.
So, because again, we're talking about people dabbling in cryptocurrency, and the problem is that we did hear about it was in Korea or Japan, $353 million being basically robbed, and all those people are out.
Yeah, the cryptocurrencies have kind of made train robberies a thing again, right? If you're transporting a bunch of gold on a train, and we've all seen the old westerns where they jump onto the train and they offload the gold, and now the crooks get away and they've got all this money and nobody's got it, right? There's no one in the world who can replace what they stole. Cryptocurrency is that way. Cryptocurrency is, transporting digital gold across the railways of the internet, and people do and can, just get a good old fashioned stagecoach robbery going on, and there's nothing anyone can do to get that money back.
And people are unaware of this until their entire whatever account on Coinbase or whatever it is completely gone, and then they say, well, what could I have done? I just lost a ton of money. And the answer is that was the whole point.
Yeah, I will say that Coinbase does have a good track record with their security, with their responses to security threats, to emerging threats, to investing in beefing up their security profile. So we just use Coinbase because it is clearly the most popular cryptocurrency exchange in the U.S. right now.
And again, when they get a new cryptocurrency, whatever cryptocurrency that is, just goes through the roof. So if you
So
can
here's
speculate, that's how you make your money.
yeah. So here's a cool thing that Electrum will do for you. So you want to keep an eye, right? You want to see what the dollar value of the Bitcoin you have is worth, right? But you don't want to keep the wallet with all of your money in it live on your internet connected computer. That's crazy. Don't do it. Um, so what you can do is Electrum can generate a master public key for you. And you can copy this out to a text file. You can put it on the internet. You can make a big banner and hang it outside your house. It's just public keys. So you can give it to anyone. What's cool is you can copy that out. And after you shred your old wallet file, tell Electrum, hey, I want to make a new wallet. But just make it a watching wallet and paste in this master public key. And what that'll do is it will say, hey, Electrum will say, hey, I can't actually make any transactions with this, but here's the current value of coins that are in this address. And on the bottom, you can turn it on. It's a checkbox. Here's the estimated value of whatever local currency you happen to be looking at. So I've got mine, and it tells me when I load up Electrum, it says, oh, here's how much Bitcoin you have, and here's how much it's worth in US dollars. And it's really cool because anyone can take that wallet. I can post it online and nothing bad will happen other than somebody knowing that these are my wallet addresses, which you might want to keep private if you've got like $10 million or something.
It's one of these things that that people are unaware of as they jumped into the world of cryptocurrencies, and unfortunately, it's bringing down what cryptocurrencies used to be, and used to be a way to decentralize and to send money, not semi-anonymously, and all this other stuff. But people saw the meteoric rise of Bitcoin. They said two things: how can we want to make money, and two, how can we leverage this? Well, let's do these ICOs, or initial coin offerings, of brand new cryptocurrencies, and they're robbing people. So again, we've talked about how not to do this. The goal of today was to say, here, you have some money, you want to hold it for a while to see which stabilizes it. Here's how you get it out of Coinbase or whatever your exchange is. And I think we did that. If you have any questions, let us know, because we can walk you through it. I really fast while you were talking, I did download it. I installed it. I saw what you were talking about. It's not hard to do. But again, I had no money. So when it asked for a password, I left it blank. When it asked for this, I left it blank. Again, you're dealing with lots and lots and lots of money, to you, to thieves, to whomever. So you got to make sure you're doing it right. And then you don't want to lock yourself out, because there are tons and tons of stories of people who forgot. I mean, I think Big Bang Theory recently had an episode on that, and it's so sad that this is what it comes to.
Yeah. So, I always like to throw this at the tail end of any conversation about any cryptocurrency. When you are playing with this stuff, when you are investing, please, please, please only invest. I should really change the words I use. Only gamble what you can afford to lose, because it is, right? You're throwing this into the big cryptocurrency slot machine and you're hoping you win at the end. Right? Right now, I'm still up. Cryptocurrency could like totally disappear tomorrow. And yeah, it would hurt, but I'm not going to be financially destitute because of the bets I've made. Temper your expectations and make sure you invest only what you can lose. Because investing more than that is kind of foolhardy. All the people that jumped in when Bitcoin hit $20,000 and now it's at half of that, they're hurting. And if those people mortgaged their house or took out a loan, that becomes a tragic tale at that point, instead of just, hard times. So, it's treat it like play money. It could be worth nothing tomorrow. It could be worth a lot tomorrow. It's a gamble. Let's see what happens.
And again, it's everyone would have said, "What would you have done?" I would have probably sold it as soon as Bitcoin hit like a couple dollars.
Yeah.
And then when it hit 1,000, I would have said, "There's no way." And then when it hit 2,000, there's absolutely no way. So as it is, it's a gamble. You want to, if you want to be part of the making of the cryptocurrency, then I would hold it. If you're just trying to speculate, just be ready to lose everything. So, okay, we're at 30 minutes. So we'll call it a night and we will see everyone next week.
See everyone.
Bye.